Hello and welcome to the second part of this simple character controller tutorial. In this part, we're going to be adding the FPS camera and the mouse look. So, we left off at this point where the character controller can actually move if we press the movement keys, and that's about it for now. So what we're going to do now is actually add the camera to the player, right? So what we're going to do is take the camera and we're going to put it right under the player. Now I'm going to rename this to something like FP camera, stands for first person camera, and I'm just going to reset its position. Right click, reset, and I'm just going to position it at 0.8 on the y-axis. This will just give us a pretty nice position for an FPS view. Alright, next off, we're actually going to need to create a script, and that script is going to be the camera handler. You can also call it mouse look, but we might do some more stuff later in the tutorial that doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the mouse look, and we want to keep it in that script. So what this script is actually going to do is allow us to rotate the camera, right? It's going to rotate the camera like this and like this as we move our mouse through the screen. So how do we do this? Right. First off, we're going to delete that, and we're going to need a special type of update. That's going to be a late update, and we're actually using late update and not fixed update because this one updates after the normal update, and it allows us to do all our movement and stuff, and then the camera will update. Right. So the way to do all this is we need the inputs from the mouse, and we need to store them into two variables, and that's going to be mouse X and mouse Y. Oops. Mouse Y, right. So what we're going to do to store them is just go mouse X plus equals, because we're going to add them, I'll explain why later, input.getAxis raw mouse X, just like that. And now we're going to do just the same thing for the mouse Y. Only thing is we're actually going to do minus equal, because this one comes inverted. The one for the Y comes inverted. You can also actually fix that on the input settings, but we're gonna just do this for now. It's actually fine. Now, why we're actually adding is because we're getting this value is going to be a value on that's going to give us the degrees at which the camera should be on a certain axis, right? This gives us a value from -1 to 1 as we move the mouse left and right, and then resets it as soon as the mouse stops. So why we add it is just to get a angle. So when we're at the center, it's going to be 0, and then as we move to the left, it's going to keep decreasing. And what we're going to do with that is rotate it just like this, or like this, depending on the value, of course. Now, how do we do this? Well, first off, we're going to need to convert these into a quaternion, right? So the way to do this is just create a simple quaternion, call it camera rotation, and we do quaternion.Euler, and what we're going to do is simply just add the mouse X and 0 and 0. We do this because we want to separate the camera rotation and the player rotation, because the camera is only going to be moving up and down, just like that, just like this, and the player is going to be moving the whole thing with the camera, since it's parented, left and right. Why we do this is actually because we don't want to move the player like this. That would be quite weird. So we're going to be doing it this way. By the way, apply the prefab. And let's keep going. Right, so now we need a quaternion for the player rotation. You can also call this character rotation. It doesn't really matter. And this one is simply 0f m 0f. Oh, this one is supposed to be my mouse Y, by the way. I'm really sorry, because we're putting mouse Y on the x-axis and mouse X on the y-axis, because as you can see here, right, we put mouse Y on the X-axis because the X-axis rotates up and down, just like that. And that will allow us to rotate it like that as we move it. And then the mouse X on the Y-axis because the Y-axis rotates left and right, just like that. It's pretty simple. Right. So now that we have these, we're simply going to assign them. So the way to do that is just go transform.local rotation. Be careful, it does need to be local rotation. For the camera, this is for the camera, it's going to be camera rotation. And then we need to assign the one for the player, and that is just transform.parent.local rotation, and that is player rotation. And once we've assigned these, we can simply test it. And it should work. Let's see. Right. Just as we forgot to add the script. We have to add the script here first. Apply the prefab and play again. Now as we move the mouse, we actually rotate the camera. Now, just as we did with the player, where we added a speed value because it was too fast, this sensitivity might not be perfect for everyone. So what we're going to do is just quickly add a value for that. So just go private float sensitivity, and we're just gonna go 0.5, and now just multiply each value by that. And this is how you can actually make this a vector 2 as well and have them different, but for our purposes this is okay. Let's see. Right. So now it rotates a lot slower. Now we have this annoying mouse here, which you wouldn't normally have while you're playing. So we're actually going to get rid of it while we're playing. And the way to do this is just go to update, awake. We're going to go to awake or start. It doesn't really matter in this case. And we will go cursor.visible is false. And then we will also go cursor.lock_state is cursor lock mode.confined. This will actually confine the cursor to the center of the screen and it will not move around. And this will just not show it. And that should be about it for this tutorial. Let's see if it works. And yes, it does. We can't really see the mouse now. Perfect. Alright, so I will see you in the next tutorial, where we will be adding some more features to the character controller. And please leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe. And thank you for watching.